Here we go, Jim. This is my brand new digital camera. And we're going to start out here. August. And it's Friday the 3rd of August. And we got the car back from the sandblasting shop. So I wanted to go around with it just a little bit to give you an idea. We didn't touch the outside of the car, of course. But inside here, after sandblasting, naturally it looks like gray primer, but it exposed some of our obvious repair places we got to address here. And from the underneath, really super clean. This is in the back, and there's inside your lid in the back. And in the driver's wheel well, inside the motor compartment. At least I got clean metal to start with here. And right here, this member will get cut off right here with my plasma cutter, but I'm going to set up the original suspension arms here. I got to make one more measurement. That's right over here. I've got one of the original suspension assemblies here, upper and lower, and the brake assembly I'm going to put on there, because what I want to do is I want to get a measurement point from what the axle center line is to a fixed point on the body here, and I can compare it with the Art Morrison suspension. That's what I'm doing right now here, and testing out my brand new camera. And with this, of course, you get this via skip through the computer. And we'll move on to the next thing a little bit later, give you some interesting video. Well, here, as is evident on the video now, your original front cross member is completely removed. As originally I was showing you earlier to cut it here, too many clearance problems and issues, cut and measure, and so I made the determination the whole thing was to come out. So I grabbed my Sawzall and cut it out and fit up the new one in an initial mode right there. Having added, you see this brace right here, got one on the other side too, so that the front end doesn't move around on us, because it was attached up right here, so I didn't want this whole front end moving around at all. So here's the brand new Art Morrison unit, pretty close to where it's actually going to be as far as center line of the axle. I'll fine tune it before that, but we got it slung in here. And the rear sump pan, got it clamped in place. These are all approximate, but this is an initial measurement and placement. How's the expression go? Measure 3 times, cut once. Looks like we're going to have a clearance issue with the headers, but we'll deal with that. And so that's where we got to this point right now. So here we go. Having made some really close measurements using straight edges and so forth, I've got the unit tack welded in there initially so it won't move around on me. And having used a plumb bob to get the axle center line pretty close, did our homework, and I got it tack welded into the front here too. Right there. That actually will come out because right where the box is here, we'll plate the end of that and come up and catch this bracket here on both sides. And in the back there, Probably going to end up chopping off 5 or 6 inches right in there, but we got to make the transition to tie the old round tube frame into the square. The headers are going to end up going right down through there. That's the driver's side. Go right down through there. Passenger side. We'll deal with that later. Moving to this side of the shop, as one can see, we got some work in progress here. The march pulley system is on, minus the alternator. And Skip is removing one each original oil pan.
With an air ratchet that won't work.
With an air ratchet that's giving him trouble. Maybe the air is too warm. Air's too warm. Okay, well, anyway, there's your march system on there. It's actually got a belt in the back here what drives a water pump only. We're going to make a little worksheet, a tech sheet, how all this works and the adjustments and everything to stay with the car. That's an update as of today, which is the 19th, I don't know, what's today, 20th?
19th.
Monday the 19th, August 2012. Moving forward again, as is evident on the video here, the rear sump pan is in. Having buttoned that all up, and right here is the oil level sending unit. That's a GM unit, and I heli arc welded the bung right in there. We couldn't believe it. CarQuest had this bung in stock. That was a what, a spindle nut?
Axle nut.
Axle nut from some application, but it was a 20 millimeter, so it's screwed in there. So we filled it up to, had the pan off, filled it up with 4 quarts of water, punched a hole and welded it in. And we got a real fancy lifting device here that I was able to adapt from a previous engine. Actually, it was a Ford 427, and with a little bit of an adapter right here in 4 places, we got this thing ready to pick up. That's what we are doing right now. Now, it's in the sling, of course. We got it dialed in at a small angle there, and I'm going to try setting it down inside there. So let's go for it. Let's see what happens.
I hope this isn't too wide.
Yeah, all right, push the engine slightly back. Hold it right there. Back. All right, hold it. All right, we're going to have to dial a little bit more angle into it. Let me get the ladder.
You know, you can probably reach it from inside the cab.
Well, maybe. Okay. Trouble is getting in there. Dial a little bit more angle in this thing. Let me see if I'm going the right way. No, I'm not. Gotta go that way. All right, tell me when I can find the front pulleys touching or close. We okay?
Yeah. Whoa. You got an inch.
A little more?
Half an inch. Okay.
clear?
Yep.
Clear?
Yeah.
All right, now I gotta start cranking the other way. Okay. Okay, we got the engine in, but we do have some clearance issues, and we'll have to address them, of course. Try to show you right here just a little bit. Of course, I had to take the plasma cutter and cut out here so I could get our lifting device in there. That's all. We're going to cut that out anyway, but right here, the engine still has to get down a little bit. That's the corner of the head and the valve cover, and I think we're going to end up having to move the engine forward. There's the mount. Has to get down a little bit, but it looks like I can move the motor mount forward about 2 inches. I think that's what we're going to have to do. Over on this side here, there's where the starter motor is, and it may have an interference problem there, so get the starter motor and see what we've got. 2 inches forward or so is going to make life a little bit easier, especially when we come out through here with the headers. The most rear cylinder being clear back there, it looks like the headers have to make a circle out around the foot box there. But we'll deal with it. In here, driver's side wheel well, we've got the first one mocked up here using original flange plate. We got a bunch of mandrel bends, and this is the result. And there's the original flange plates. So we are now working on the passenger side. So here we are cutting off the flange, passenger side. And that's how it goes. We just continue on down through here.
Can I take a look at your track?
Yeah, here we're coming to the end of the cut here for the final. Bingo, that's it. Okay, here's the passenger side. All cut, welded, and fit. And we got the clearances that we actually need there from the frame rail and to the foot box. And I'll give a top view shot of it here. Okay, swinging over here to the driver's side. In fact, now I've got the steering knuckles and rods all in. They are pretty good shape there. Here's the initial support for the foot box, and I simply welded that black collar to this plate here, all closed in later. Coming around to the driver's compartment, and there's what she looks like. And back here is the support under dash support. And it's a tilt. Can't do it with one hand. There we go. And I'll get a nice shot of the steering knuckles and everything under here. We got a brace right here that's going to support, it supports the shaft bearing right here, and we're able to weld it in, as I found out. This clearance right up here, I can actually get the header out, removing everything down to the rack. This will be simple to remove by simply moving the steering column back probably not more than a ½ inch, and the whole package will come right out. Additionally, right here is our Griffin radiator complete with a shroud and a 2800 CFM electric fan. Initial fit up. Looks really, really good. And condenser. And underneath, what we're going to do, right here is a piece of square tubing, get welded completely across, and then we'll put a lip on it, encase it in 1/8 inch rubber. That'll be the bottom support. And on the top, we'll go from here over to here and grab it like that in a couple of places, also with 1/8 inch rubber, and then cover the whole thing with decorative aluminum. That's the progress report. So here we are in a new year, February 2013, and it's Monday the 25th. We're going to move to the rear part of the car. What we got from Factory 5 Racing, made in the USA, is independent rear suspension. This is a Ford 8.8 independent rear that I've got mocked up on the car pretty good. identical to what I have in my Cobra. So we'll head on over here and get some pictures of that. I'm going to have to clearance this, make maybe 1.25 inches cut out there to make it like a super mini tub, because that's too close, and as the suspension goes up and down, it's going to rub. Alright, here's the structure all in, and another little device we got. We've determined the center of the car and shot a laser line down through there, and there's the tail shaft of the transmission clear down there, and we're using this as the center of the car to make all our measurements. And I've got these temporary bars right here which will simulate coil spring suspension right here, so I can hold the suspension arms rigid. And over here is the brand new 8.8 pumpkin. I'll set it up and make sure the pinion angle's where I want it, and I think we're close. Well, next operation is I'm going to have to scribe on the inner fender wells here, the circumference on that wheel there, and start doing some cutting and moving some metal around and get everything in permanently. That's the next operation. Okay, so now I've got the unit itself temporarily clamped and bolted inside the car underneath here. And some of the methods we use to get it in there and straight are, here's a straight edge here that we've got pretty plumb and level. Same thing down in the front of the car, and between it run a fishing line to get things square and so forth. And then with the plumb bob at the axle center line, with the original axle center line, we come down and get things initially as square and as straight as we can. And inside the area here, I've got things temporarily clamped and bolted, totally adjustable. We moved this thing around 2 or 3 different times, left, right, up and down, to get it where we wanted it. And now I'm ready to make some temporary, well, some tack welds, so that I can remove these adjustment screws out of here and get it in a permanent state. But I've got it in there, both sides. And from underneath, take a look here. One thing we're going to have to do, let's see what it looks like underneath here. Alright, the tire actually clears in its present position, which is about ride height. But as the suspension moves up and down, that's going to get too close in there. Out of pure necessity, as I have discovered, I have to have a new special tool for working on the back side of this car. It's called a helmet, because I have smashed my heads underneath this thing one too many times, and there are some sharp objects under here, so bicycle helmet's going to do the job. Here you can see we've removed these suspension components, upper and lower control arms and the hub, in order to get the gear set in. And with a little bit of coaxing, we were actually able to get the pumpkin in from the driver's side. And she's sitting in there resting close to the correct angle. Might have to put a spacer underneath that rubber cushion right there. Change the angle just a little bit. But it is setting pretty good. And up here, I've scribed a line which represents where the tire is actually sitting. So another 3 or 4 inches above that line, I'll make another mark, and that's where I'm going to start cutting and do a mini tub, which is going to be about the width of this right here, about 1.25 inches. I'll go back to this surface because the tire's touching here. That's what we're doing right now. And I secured one of the right front suspension pickup points. Right there would be the upper shock spring mount. And I put a wedge-shaped piece in there, boxed it all in. It can't move. And I'll do the other side, which is right there. Because the total suspension rides on that point, got to make it nice and solid. That's what we are doing now. Okay, here we are, October 2013. In fact, the rear end is in with all the suspension points in and all hooked up. As a matter of fact, the drive shaft has been made and it's in, and Howie put us in the pipes back to this point. Tailpipes come later. And here would be the hanger point for the fuel tank. And a hook up front, stainless steel straps. Fuel tank was in, it is now out. And there's an access point for the fuel level sending unit. Coming around here, filler neck now in the back with a push through. And then we'll just simply weld up where the fuel door was. Over here, top part of the shock mounts all in. Cover plate will have to be made here, removable excess cover plate. Moving forward to the console area, got the shifter figured out. Had to modify the original fiberglass tunnel because the transmission was a bit big, so I've done that. Have a couple of plates here. Have to have that one removable because of the plug-ins in there for the computer. So there's the Mercedes shifter. It's actually in stock location, but I've made a little bit of a sheet metal grid on here, and this will all get fiberglassed in there later. Okay, that's the update for now. Next thing, I'm going to start on the inner fender wells. Let the car down and start on the inner fender wells. There's the left rear wheel wood. I'm going to make a grid work out of this 3/4 inch wide by 1/8 inch flat bar. Make a grid work. Put that all around in here, and then we fasten aluminum to the whole thing. That is starting today. Okay, video update here. We have changed years. And here we are, April 7th, and it's Monday. And a little bit of a small change from what the inner fender wells were going to be. Made them in steel. So I take a shot down through here, and they are in fact all in. The rear portion from here on down is removable so that we can get the headers out. And on the other side there, those are all in, and that portion right there is removable so I can get the right header out. Okay, from this shot here you can see AC lines. There's the dryer, 4-way connector for heat and AC, and one of the fast engine controllers is going to go right there. There's a vertical shot of the right header. Coming around the AC lines, we had to do a hard line on this one here because they crisscrossed. We got them all plumbed out. Top part of the condenser. This is the remote power steering reservoir.
Yeah, that was one ugly race today. Oh, yeah. I haven't seen the end of it, but it started out with
And there's the
out under caution.
power steering, excuse me, power brake booster right there, the electric high power,
And their hoods.
sitting down here.
So they were already hitting under
And we got all the lines in,
before the race even started to repair their cars. Then about
coming all out of course, but they're all in.
forgot where he was on the track, I guess, and went down into the grass and
Over here
popped up and slammed up into the wall, burst into
to the adjustable proportioning valve,
the rub broke his windshield.
and that's
Windshield.
brake light switch.
It was ugly. We touched up
Now the air intake,
some of the scratches. Second coat.
Skip used the internet, got all of this stuff here. This will have stainless steel ring clamps on it, all of it, but it all comes around to the front and down.
Oh!
Down through here with K&N filters on both sides, of course,
I figured we'd change it.
and I made an aluminum shield guard. Pull it out with a couple of screws, and right there is a containment bracket. One bolt, self-contained,
Maybe I can get them for about $1 each, $1, $2.
with a welded in nut back there. Pull that, and these pop out for servicing. And the same on this side.
Go on record as saying that I wish we'd done this at the end of the season last year,
And
because I'm kind of like,
these are this is the automatic transmission
what?
cooling lines.
If we just jump right on it and gone through the car at the end of the season, it would have been more coherent.
Right here's the front
Yeah.
shot of it.
We know nothing's been done.
Yeah,
So it's not matter.
And in here, this is a crossover. This is the front brake line
Just do everything now. We need to check the
going through.
valve settings, I guess. And,
Right inner fender well. Comes out through there
probably
into our braided flex line. And the wheel woods 6-piston calipers. This is just shot from inside. And this portion is removable,
When we put it all back together, I think that's
as is this one here.
I thought we were moving too fast then to...
This portion here will be welded in permanent, and of course there's a shield that goes across right here. And up here, still work in progress that we got. I had to make a bracket here for the throttle. Special ordered longer cable from Locar. There's your throttle. And this is kind of one of the next things I got to put in is the throttle pedal, which goes in right over in there. Moving to the inside, you got the console halfway mocked up. Changes are going to be made, of course, but this is the original plate that's going to have to be modified so it'll fit the Mercedes shifter, of course. And this panel right here will change. It'll stay in the same spot. It'll change because of the AC controls are different. And over here, what was glove box now houses one of the fast unit controllers. And there's AC heat lines coming through the firewall. Go to the other side of the car. We got this, I did it tilt column. And we're going to be utilizing these beautiful aftermarket AC vents. I just got one in here to show, just by pure coincidence, it's the right size. There's one of the smaller instruments. Original face, all updated. They're actually VDO gauges with the original faces. As is the tachometer and speedometer. That pretty much completes it, except for one other item right here. That's the overflow tank that's recessed, and that's down inside the fender well. Right there. Out of sight, out of mind. And of course this gets a cover plate. And this is how the headers come down through. And with that plate removable, header access is easy. That's it for April the 7th, 2014. My other employees are over here working on a little bit smaller car. Number 14 in 2014. We got it inside the shop. It is all painted. A quick go around here. And first things first, we're going to get some serious protection on the side of this body. Again, what's this color? It's a Lamborghini
Champagne Grigio.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
So it's get serious time. Okay, here's the day and the date. And X marks the day. 30 June 2016. Final reconstruction here. Outside painted surfaces, and what we're fixing to do here is a lizard skin. That's this product right here. Brand name Lizard Skin. And it's got information brochure here. It's a two-part process. SC, that's sound control. And there's the info on it. And then portions of it we're going to shoot on after the sound control, the ceramic insulation. That's for heat. And I'm going to shoot the inside the motor compartment here, the foot boxes. Both the products. And in the foot box. That's where we are right now. Here's the product here in the things. In their containers, got to mix them up. That's the SC. This is the CI. Mix them all up and start shooting. Special gun. And we got to wait about an hour or so in between coats. Make the car really, really nice. We already did the whole underneath side of the car before it went to paint and body, so the whole underneath of the car is already done. Fast forward here now, the foot boxes have got 2 coats of sound deadener and a coat of the ceramic. That will complete the foot boxes and the tranny tunnel. And in the back, got a little bit more drying time to go, but we got the sound control back in here, the SC. And it's got to dry a little bit more. I get one more coat.
Here we've got Butch in his painter's costume shooting a coat of lizard skin onto, this is the sound control layer, and he's shooting lizard skin still wet, and Butch shooting away. Yeah.
Okay, we do now have all of the lizard skin done. The heat and the sound barrier, the foot boxes, everything. And there's the cavity for the air conditioning system, goes right in there, all coated. And coming around the back here, and the lift hatch back, all done. That is where the battery's going to go, right there. And that there is pretty self-explanatory, fuel access panel. And that is all done. And coming to the front, the foot boxes, driver's side, passenger side, and all ready to go. Now I'm going to go over here, and we've got the rear end installed. This is the Ford 8.8 independent rear from Ford Racing. I'm going to crawl under here and point out a couple of things. The whole system is in. These are the parking brake cables from Low-Car. Willwood discs. Aluminum center section.
Positive traction.
A limited slip positive traction. And here's the parking brake cables going forward. And over here to the driver's side. It's a well-made product from Low-Car. Got the coilover shocks in. All the suspension pieces are tightened down. Here's the sway bar with the adjustable link and everything. And it's powder coated. Okay, now I'm going to crawl under and go forward and show you how the parking brake assembly is all installed. Of course, it's fuel injection, so there'll be one to the engine and then, of course, return. And that's yet to be done. But right there on that shot is an inline filter, and we'll have the part number written down for that, and that's where the line will go in and out from the tank. Alright, now speaking of tanks, we're going to take a shot over here at the new tank. Right there's the drive shaft flange on the rear housing, and the parking brake cables right here coming forward and through, and here is where they are tied in, two into one, and this is the parking brake handle coming down, and here's the adjuster. This threaded portion here, the cables are tied down with double set screws on each one, and this threaded rod, there's the adjustment right there. Now right beside it now here, we've started to do the fuel lines here. This is the braided stainless lines. Here's a brand new stainless custom tank from Rick's Tanks down in Texas, I believe it was. El Paso, Texas. And the hole right here, of course, is for the sending unit. And I'll show that in a video in just a second. And in-tank pump. And everything is labeled. Return and send to the engine. There's your positive and negative for the in-tank pump. And the vent. Got a little hooey in the tank here, but that was all designed because of the underneath part of the car. We had to have a clearance in there. And we have stainless steel straps. And there's the filler end. So that's going in here soon. And over here, and I'll show it on the video, I bench checked the fuel level sending unit and the gauge and everything. And I'll show you that, demonstrate that real quickly right here.
I can't tell if it's on or what.
No, that color doesn't. It says record. It's on record now.
Okay.
You're on record right now.
Okay, go for it.
Start over again here. This particular unit is a 33 to 240 ohms. 240 is empty, 33 ohms is full. Bench check everything to make sure everything works. And I've got it all hooked up here with a little miniature motorcycle battery. There's the instrument. Empty, coming up. Can you see it coming up? Okay. So now we can install the unit because we know it works. Of course, these were all an adjustable unit by measurements by the chart. This has to be at so and so many distance, and this also according to the depth of the tank. So we are good to go with the fuel. And it's Thursday the 6th, and we are fixing to put the engine in for the final time.
Hopefully.
And we have experienced help with us. There's 1H Hemi and a 5-speed automatic, and there's a hole right there, and we're fixing to fill that hole up. Okay, so here we go. You can come down just a little bit more. You watch that front pan. 2 inches, 2.5. I think I need to dial a little bit more angle into it. Can you reach it? Turn the ladder around and spin it. Crank that thing, crank that thing.
You should have seen it the first time we installed it.
Well, it's almost in the hole. Go to sleep now.
Right.
A little bit of a challenge, but it is in.
Hit start. No?
No, must be you gotta turn this thing back off.
Yeah. A little more. Hang on. I'll sure that. Oh, you're okay.
Well, it's evidently green means engine's running.
Just turn it back on a second now.
Back on.
Yep.
I was supposed to have a teal glow, right?
Yep. Oh, that's it. Should be.
Whoops.
That's
I went too far.
one more.
It's like
Huh?
this light's quite a bit brighter than this light. Turn it on.
Tail light
Could be. Really turns on. See?